Michael stared at the phone in his hand, his brother-in-law's words still echoing in his mind like a punch to the gut. After more than 20 years of marriage, after transforming himself from a destructive teenager into the man his wife deserved, her family still couldn't see past the demons of his youth. The story began when Michael was 16 and dating the love of his life, Sarah. Back then, he was everything a parent would fear for their daughter, a degenerate who cheated, broke the law, and wielded words like weapons in verbal abuse. He was, by his own admission, horrible. Yet Sarah never abandoned him, not even when her family begged her to see reason. The turning point came with a pregnancy test and 2 pink lines that changed everything. Sarah was barely out of high school when she chose to keep their baby, a decision that severed her relationship with her family. Her parents and siblings couldn't understand why she would chain herself to someone they viewed as poison. The ultimatum was cruel but clear: choose him or choose us. Sarah chose love, and her family chose to disown her. That moment of potential fatherhood flipped a switch in Michael's brain. The wild, reckless boy who had caused so much pain suddenly understood what it meant to have something worth fighting for. He married Sarah, returned to school, found steady work, and welcomed another beautiful child into their growing family. Years later, he earned another degree and started his own business. Ensuring Sarah would never need to work unless she chose to, their love story became one of redemption and renewal. Last year, they renewed their vows in a ceremony that celebrated not just their enduring love, but Michael's complete transformation. While Sarah had slowly rebuilt bridges with her family over the years, they maintained a cold distance from Michael, a boundary he accepted with understanding and humility. Sarah's childhood home held mystical significance for her. Lost when her parents divorced during her teenage years, the generational family property had always represented security and belonging. Michael had quietly monitored the house for over a decade, and when it went up for sale 3 years ago, he didn't hesitate. Buying back Sarah's childhood home felt like returning a stolen piece of her soul. With their children away at college, Michael and Sarah had found peace in the familiar walls where Sarah had once been a carefree child. The house seemed to exhale contentment, finally sheltering the family it was meant to protect. Then Sarah's father died, leaving her elderly mother alone and vulnerable. Sarah's unmarried sister had devoted her life to caring for their mother, but none of the siblings had the financial means to house both women comfortably. Michael saw an opportunity for healing when he suggested they move into the family home. It seemed perfect: familiar surroundings for Sarah's mother, adequate space and resources, and perhaps a chance for Michael to finally earn some measure of acceptance. The phone call from Sarah's brother initially seemed promising. He agreed the arrangement made practical sense for everyone involved. But then came the devastating condition that left Michael reeling: the siblings wanted him to leave. As long as their mother lived in that house. They refused to tolerate his presence during family visits. They couldn't bear feeling like guests under his roof in what they still considered their ancestral home. The brother's explanation cut deeper than any physical blow could have. "We spent years of our childhood dealing with the fallout of our parents losing their oldest daughter to you," he said, his voice heavy with decades of unprocessed grief. "The least you can do is let our mother have her children around peacefully in her final years." Michael understood the subtext. After Sarah left with him, her parents had become suffocatingly strict with their remaining children, their fear and disappointment poisoning the household atmosphere. Though everyone was now in their 40s, the emotional scars from those turbulent years remained fresh for Sarah's siblings. The family planned to eventually move their mother to a nursing home when her health declined further, likely within a year or 2. They weren't trying to steal the house. Michael trusted both Sarah and her family on that point. They simply found his presence so offensive that they were asking him to temporarily relocate during what might be their mother's final chapter. Michael felt torn between laughter at the absurdity of the request and genuine consideration of whether he owed this sacrifice to the family he had inadvertently torn apart decades ago. Had his youthful mistakes created a debt that could only be repaid through exile from his own home? When Michael brought the dilemma to Sarah, her response was swift and decisive. She shut down the idea immediately, her loyalty as unwavering now as it had been when they were teenagers. Sarah called her sister, the one caring for their mother, and discovered that the demanding brother didn't speak for the entire family. While everyone knew his feelings about Michael, his sister was surprised he had actually made such an outrageous demand. Sarah's sister's primary concern was their mother's comfort and care, not ancient grudges. The family's options were limited, and Michael and Sarah's home offered the best solution. The decision was made: the mother and sister would move in by month's end, and Michael would remain in his own house. The brother would have to choose between his hatred and his desire to visit his dying mother. The family would figure out how to coexist, one day at a time. An unexpected silver lining emerged from the chaos. Both of Michael and Sarah's daughters would be visiting during the first week of the move-in, the first time they'd all been together since Christmas. Despite the family drama swirling around them, Michael felt genuine happiness at the prospect of having his complete family under one roof again. The situation forced Michael to confront a painful truth: redemption doesn't always erase the past, and forgiveness isn't always freely given, even after decades of changed behavior. Some wounds run so deep that time alone cannot heal them. Yet love, the fierce, protective love Sarah had shown him for over 20 years, remained his anchor in the storm. What do you think about this family's complex situation? Should Michael have agreed to temporarily leave his own home to make peace with his wife's family? Can someone ever truly escape the mistakes of their youth, or do some actions create permanent consequences? How would you handle being asked to sacrifice your comfort for people who refuse to forgive your past? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below.